Hi, welcome back to MathewsBallistics. In this video, I'm going to be doing something a little different that I don't normally do, and that is load subsonic ammunition. So primarily what we're doing today is I'm going to load some lead cast 150 grain bullets into 9mm, and we're going to load it as low as we can get it, or try to get it as low as I can, while still being able to cycle the action of the firearm. So this is the lead cast bullet that I would normally use. It is a 125 grain lead cast out of a Lee mold. But and this is what I would normally use in a 38 357. I haven't cleaned all the lube off of it, but that's what I would normally use. Now these have been run through a .358 die, which is what you would use in a 38 or 357. 9mm is .356. So I'm going to rerun these back through a .356 die, and we will see how that goes. Of course, this is a completely different alloy than I use for 9mm. Run a few of these through here. Yeah, it's pretty tough. Now, so the deal with this is these are 150 grain. Let me give you a little close up together about the size difference. A little bit longer, but that's okay, because loading subsonic ammunition, we're not using as much powder, so we can seat the bullet a little deeper in the case. And I really think that these will work out pretty good. It looks like they're going to be seated a little deeper. Let's see how much. The 150 grain bullet is .646 in length, and the 125 is .562. And then after I resized it through the sizing die, let's see, yep, it came out at 356, which is what we needed. And these normally use are 356. So using less powder, I can seat the bullet a little bit deeper. My starting load, I'm going to look up some load data for 147 and try to shoot for somewhere in between those. And then I'm going to start at the lowest load at the minimum and then back it off from there until I get the velocity down to where the gun is barely cycling, but still cycling consistently. If I get it too low and it starts jamming or not feeding, feeding correctly, then I'll up the charge just a little bit. This is going to be a multi-part little series of episodes for this, because I am going to be testing this with different kinds of powder. Anyways, I'm going to get to it, and I'm going to load a few of these, figure out what my load data is, and then I will start with the minimum, load it probably 2 or 3, and then go down a 1/10 of a grain and load 2 or 3, and go down 1/10 of a grain, load 2 or 3, and just keep going down by a 1/10 until I get the velocity. I'm hoping to get down to about a 800 to 850 range. If it quits cycling the gun at like 875, then that's, 890 is probably where I'm going to load them at. You got to do just what you got to do to get the gun to cycle correctly, but still be a subsonic 9. 9mm most of the time is not a subsonic round. So loading subsonic 9 can be a little tricky. I've never loaded any subsonic ammunition, so this is the first time. Well, I take that back. I've loaded 38 special, 45 auto, but those are inherently subsonic by nature. That's just the way that they're designed. They're not really designed to break the sound barrier, just, based off their natural load data. So loading subsonic 9, round that's not really meant to be subsonic, is going to be a little bit different. I've never actually downloaded ammunition. I usually load it up to or near the maximum pressures and loads. So this is going to be a little bit of a different experiment. So you guys stick with me. I'm going to get to this. This is my twin turbo diesel BMW, fully deleted and tuned, and it does not like cold starts. Yesterday it was 70 degrees outside. Today it's about 28 or 30, so we'll see how this goes. Went better than expected. I give it about 10-15 minutes to warm up, and then we're going to go test these subsonic rounds. Alright, so we're testing out some subsonic ammunition. I got 3 rounds of 115 grain MagTech full metal jackets, and then we're going to test my 140 grain lead cast rounds. They're not 150 like I was wanting, because I didn't account for the different type of lead alloy. Actually has a different density than pure lead, so from the 150 grain bullet mold they dropped at 140. No big deal with that. I went with the minimum load data for 147 grain bullet, which is 3.2 grains, so I'm starting at 3.2 and I'm going to work my way down. The lightest one I've got with me today is, I believe, 2.8 grains, so 3.2, 3.1, 3, 2.9, and 2.8. I'm going to start, the first 3 rounds are going to be the MagTech, just to make sure the chronograph's working, and then we'll start calling off the velocities on the subsonic loads. $11.57, $12.31, $12.47. Those are all the MagTech rounds. Now I'm going to 140 grains loaded over 3.2 of TiteGROUP. 989, 1066, and 1010. When I go to 3.1, 1023, 980, and 989. I'm going to 3 grains. 989, 992, and 972. 2.8 grain, or sorry, 2.9 grains. 1005, 949, and 946. And this is the lightest 3 loads I've got left. They're at 2.8 grains. 946, 956, and 957. Okay, so out of the Canik, which has a 5-inch barrel. Even the lightest loads with a 140 grain bullet that I've loaded so far were 2.8 grains, and they were still in the 950 range. And they're actually, the extreme spread was actually pretty tight on those. It was only 10 feet per second. Of course, it was only 3 rounds, so if I loaded more, it could be different. So out of a shorter barrel, like a compact carry type gun, you'd probably be looking around 900 feet per second. These are about 950 out of this. It has a 5-inch barrel. It's a full frame gun. And I think that I'm going to go and we're going to do this test again at a later time, but I'm going to go and I'm going to start at 2.7 grains and go to 2.3 or 2.2 grains, and we'll see what our velocities are. My goal is to get them down as low as possible while still functioning the firearm. These were still functioning great. We had no jams, no hang-ups or anything. So I'm going to try to get it down hopefully in the 850 area and with the firearm still functioning. Now in other firearms it may or may not work out because of different recoil spring rates. So it would just be something that if you were into this and wanted to reload Subsonic for your own firearm and you want to use lead cast rounds like I'm doing, you would have to find out what your gun would be capable of firing and cycling at the lowest speed. So if you are going to get into that, check out the spring rate, the recoil spring rate on your firearm. I know a lot of Glocks are about anywhere from like 13 to 17 pounds depending on what kind of gun it is. I'm not exactly sure what this one is. I'm thinking it's probably about 14-ish. So hopefully it'll be able to cycle some pretty slow rounds. You probably noticed there's a definite like change in sound from the MagTech rounds to the Subsonic rounds. But that's all I got for today. I'm going to continue this project in another video, and we're going to see how slow we can get this thing to cycle. Thanks for watching. It's been Matthews Ballistics.